Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat Shalom.
Try that again.
Shabbat Shalom.
Hey!
Shabbat Shalom.
Hey!
Shabbat, 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 Shabbat Shalom. Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael, Am Yisrael Chai. 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 Or Avinu Chai, Or Avinu Chai. Or Avinu, Or Avinu, Or Avinu Chai. Or Avinu Chai, Or Avinu Chai. Or Avinu, Or Avinu, Or Avinu Chai. Hebenu Shalom Alechem. Hebenu Shalom Alechem. Hebenu Shalom Alechem. Hebenu Shalom, Shalom, Shalom Alechem. Hebenu Shalom Alechem. Hebenu Shalom Alechem. Hebenu Shalom Alechem. Hebenu Shalom, Shalom, Shalom Alechem.
Shabbat Shalom. So we sing and we clap and we enjoy being together during this moment of sacredness that we come to once a week. So let's enjoy each other. Welcome to all of you who are guests here tonight. We are delighted that you are here. For those of you who may need, we do have our Shalom Sanctuary back over there. If you need some quiet time and you want to be a little isolated, we do have that over there for you. We will be using Mishkan Tefillah. That's the book that looks like this underneath your seats. So we will be using that. And let me just point out to you that God forbid should there be an emergency of some sort, our exits are both sides of the sanctuary and directly behind us. And we would ask you that you move out quickly, but we will announce it, so don't even worry about it. This is a sacred space, and it's a sacred hour in 10 minutes. And I would ask that you silence your telephones or anything that goes squeak, beep, or does the Star Spangled Banner, and then everybody has to stand up and, just turn them off. Or turn them on silent. And I just got to meet our bat mitzvah for tomorrow. And Alyssa, we're delighted, and mazel tov to you and to your family. This is a very exciting weekend for you as you take your place amongst the membership of Temple Emanu-El. I'm Rabbi Scott Colbert. For those of you who don't know me, I'm the Rabbi Emeritus, one of the two Rabbi Emeriti of Temple Emanu-El. I'm the younger one. and our cantorial soloist, Jessica Tillum.
Hello.
We're very excited that you're here this evening, and we want to make sure that everybody knows everybody in this congregation. So I'm going to ask you to please stand up and introduce yourself to somebody you don't know. So there's a lot of family here. So introduce yourself to somebody you don't know that's from your family. Or if you want to introduce yourself to your family, you can talk now. You've got 1 minute. Go. Up. begin Shabbat, we just take a few moments to center ourselves here in the sanctuary. You know, us Jews are very fortunate that our ancestors gave us a weekend. The Jew comes right from the Ten Commandments. We have Shabbat, we have a weekend. And so we take that time, that 24 hours, just to decompress from everything else that's going on during the week, except to celebrate a wonderful bat mitzvah, of course. But just to leave your concerns behind you and focus on these 24 hours, this weekend, the beautiful voice of our cantorial soloist, and just to enjoy the time and be with us. So I'm going to ask you to take a deep breath and hold it for just a moment, and then to let that breath go and to let the past week just leave us. Take another one. And so we begin Shabbat with lighting candles, and we do so to bring in the light of Shabbat, to bring in the light of Torah, and to bring light into our hearts, the light of love and the light of warmth. And so I'm going to ask that our bat mitzvah family, our grandparents, Wendy and Dale, and Gail and Butch, and Lindsay and Michael and Carson, and Alyssa, come forward and to light and bless the Shabbat candles. You'll find this on page 120 in our prayer books. Please rise. Take the candle. Good. Yeah, he's expert, I can see. Hold it there just for a second. Yes. Okay, okay, you did good. And we say,
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu le'echad likner shel Shabbat.
Now I would invite those of you who have not lit candles at home or would like to light a candle here to come forward on the right or the left. Those of you who don't want to may sit down, and we'll join together in singing Shalom Aleichem as we light Shabbat candles.
Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Asharei, Malachei HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Bachuni l'Shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malachei Amlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Tzidchem l'Shalom, Malachei Hashalom, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malachei Amlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
Shabbat has been compared to being a bride. You all know that when a bride enters the room, everybody rises, except we only do that on the last verse. But why a bride? Because a bride brings in the idea of a whole new world. A bride and a groom together constitute a new nuclear family. They constitute that love, and it's our love, one another, God's love for us, that has entered into a covenant with us that we celebrate on Shabbat. And so we're going to continue with a song of love, Lecha Dodi. It's a poem written in the 15th century by Shlomo Halevi Alkabetz in Sfat, Israel. And we're going to do verses 1, 2, 5, and 9. On the 9th verse, I'll ask you to rise, and we'll face the door to welcome the Shabbat bride. Chadodi. Join with us.
Lecha dodi likrat kala, penei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala, penei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi, lecha dodi likrat kala, penei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala, penei Shabbat nekabela. Shamur v'zachor b'dibur echad, ishmi'anu el hamiuchad. Adonai echad u'shemo echad, l'Shem tiferet v'nitchila. Lecha dodi, lecha dodi likrat kala, penei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala, penei Shabbat nekabela. Likrat Shabbat nachu b'nei echad, ki hi makor habracha, me'rosh mekidem nesucha, sof ma'aseh b'machshavat tchila. Lecha dodi, lecha dodi likrat kala, penei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala, penei Shabbat nekabela. Hitorari, hitorari, ki ba'orech u'mi'ori, uri, uri, shir daberi, kavod Adonai alach yiknigla. Lecha dodi, lecha dodi likrat kala, penei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala, penei Shabbat nekabela. Boi v'shalom ateret bana, gam b'simcha uv'tzola, toch emunei am segula. Boi chana, lecha dodi, lecha dodi likrat kala, penei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha dodi likrat kala, penei Shabbat nekabela.
We stay standing. Entrances to holiness are everywhere. The possibility of ascent is all the time, even at unlikely times and through unlikely places. There is no place on earth without the divine presence. We remain standing for Baruch Hu, page 146.
Yai la lai 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 lai. Yai la lai 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 lai. Yai la lai 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 lai. Yai la lai 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 lai. Yai la lai 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 lai. Yai la lai 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 lai. Yai la lai 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 lai. Yai la lai 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 lai. et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach, HaMevorach le'olam va'ed. HaMevorach, HaMevorach le'olam va'ed.
You may be seated. We continue with the singing of Roll into Dark, which you will find on the back of your inside cover of your prayer book. Roll into dark.
Roll into dark, roll into night. Night becomes day, day turns to night. Roll into dark, roll into night. Night becomes day, day turns to night. Borei yom v'layla, golel oy mipnei choshech, golel oy mipnei choshech, v'choshech mipnei or. Roll into dark, roll into light. Night becomes day, day turns to night. Roll into dark, roll into light. Night becomes day, day
Rise for Shema.
turns to night. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. 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 Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto le'olam va'ed.
Please be seated as we continue being led by our bat mitzvah with the Ve'ahavta on page 154.
ואהבת
את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך והיו
הדברים האלה אשר אלוהים מצווה היום על לבביך ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך וביתך ובלבתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך וקשרתם לאות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך ובטלתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותי והייתם קודשים אלוהיהם. אני אדוני אלוהיהם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות להם אלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיהם.
The rabbis ask, when will redemption come? We are a world that is in need of redemption. we open up a newspaper and we go, it's enough already. When will redemption come? And the rabbis actually have an answer for that. And the answer is when we all participate in the act of redemption, when we work towards making this a better world through acts of tikkun olam, by following those mitzvot which lead us to a better life, those commandments which lead us to a better life, and to embrace each other with love. It's a hard thing to do in this world, but it's something that we have to do. Our families, our friends, and even those we don't know. We continue now with our prayer of redemption, Mi Chamocha, which you will find in your prayer books on page 158. Page 161, let us read the top paragraph together. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Adonai, help us to walk with good companions, to live with hope in our hearts and eternity in our thoughts, that we may lie down in peace and rise up, waiting to do your will. Baruch ata Adonai, haporei sukat shalom aleinu, al kol amo Yisrael, ve'al Yerushalayim, hashkivenu.
Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom v'hamidenu shomreinu l'chaim. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom v'hamidenu shomreinu l'chaim. Ushmor tziteinu uvoenu l'chaim u'shalom mi'ata v'ad olam. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom v'hamidenu shomreinu l'chaim. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom v'hamidenu shomreinu l'chaim. V'hamidenu shomreinu l'chaim.
More than the Jewish people have kept Shabbat, Shabbat has kept the Jewish people. We continue with Vishamru, page 162.
Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat lasot et ha-Shabbat ledoratam b'ritonam. Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat lasot et ha-Shabbat ledoratam b'ritonam.
Thank you to Rabbi Spike. Thank you, Rabbi Spike, for asking me to speak once again from this pulpit. I've not shared my views publicly here at Temple Emanu-El for almost 7 years. But with the pulpit being given to me for one Shabbat a month during Rabbi Spike's well-deserved sabbatical, tonight I will begin by sharing where I stand. Lest anyone ever wonder, with regard to the war taking place in Gaza, my views can be distilled down to a single sentence. Give me back the hostages, and then we can talk. In the nearly 7 months since Hamas's October 7th attacks on Israel, as Israel has fought a war in Gaza, as the situation in the north against Hezbollah heats up, I have developed more, not less, moral clarity. I think of the atrocities committed by Hamas that day. I recall my meeting with several of my colleagues who shared their thoughts after seeing the sights and the smells of the burnt communities in Israel's south. We are aware of the brazen manner in which the perpetrators filmed their atrocities on their GoPro cameras and then proudly uploaded their acts of terror onto their social media accounts. Hamas officials are on record saying that if given the opportunity, they will repeat such assaults over and over again until Israel is exterminated. Not an hour passes that I don't think of the hostages, men, women, and babies. 175 days and counting. No contact or communication with the outside world. Their condition unknown, their future in the balance, and based on the testimony of the hostages who have been released, subject to unspeakable acts of physical, psychological, and serial sexual violence. Hamas's cynical tactic of hiding behind the human shields of innocent Palestinians in hospitals, in schools, and elsewhere has been revealed to the world, as have hundreds of miles of tunnels and testimony to Hamas's decades-long of misuse of international funds intended to aid the Palestinian people. I pieced together the attacks from Gaza, the attacks from the north, the attacks from the Houthis in Yemen, and I reject any David Goliath, oppressed, oppressor, liberator, colonialist narrative. The actions of Iran and its proxies make clear that it is the destruction of Israel, not the liberation of the Palestinians, that is their goal. And I know what is being said on the front pages of newspapers, on social media, on college campuses. Today I received an unverified email saying that students on the Emory campus are seeking to implore the university to divest from anything relating to Israel. I know what's going on in the International Court of Justice and on the streets of those cities throughout the world that Karen and I have visited in recent months. I see world opinion shifting against Israel, naming Israel as the aggressor, denying the very fact that of the attacks themselves, ignoring the plight of the captives, denouncing Israel's war on Hamas as unjust, calling for Palestine to be freed and Israel to be destroyed, and threatening Jews around the world behind the flag of Palestinian self-determination. I see it all. I hear it all. And in the midst of it all, my moral compass is steady, the rightness of my path resolute. I stand by Israel's right to self-determination and self-defense. I stand by the IDF's campaign to root out Hamas, free the captives, and secure Israel's future. It fits the textbook definition of a war of obligation. I mourn the loss of every Israeli civilian and every Israeli soldier. I even mourn the loss of every innocent Palestinian, though I question their innocence at times. I'm heartbroken at all the lives disrupted, destroyed, and displaced. Every life is created equally and in the infinite dignity of a God of all creation. Any displays of smug celebration in the face of human suffering are obscene and should be shut down without delay. To not be heartbroken is to be inhumane. As a believing Jew, I believe that God is shedding tears for all of God's children in this dark hour. My belief in, my prayers for, and my pursuit of peace is unwavering. Give me back the hostages, and then we can talk. These are my views, clear, unequivocal, and steadfast. My challenge is not figuring out what I stand for. On that I am clear. My challenge relates to those who do not share my positions, those people for whom the truths that I hold to be self-evident are not self-evident at all. And I'm not talking about the enemies of Israel and the Jewish people. For them and their kind, I have no patience. For those who have attacked Israel, my heart burns with anger. But my question pertains to those individuals within the fold, Jews and non-Jews, whose views, whose sympathies, whose histories may differ from mine. People questioning who is really to blame, past and present, for the conflict between the Israelis and the Palestinians. People wondering at what cost of Palestinian life, or for that matter, Israeli life, shall this war be prosecuted. People asking if calls for a ceasefire need necessarily be understood as a betrayal of the cause. Not even a hostile world court could bring itself to call Israel's actions genocide. But at what point does Israel cross the line from a just to an unjust war? If prior to October 7th, cynicism regarding the Israeli government and criticism of Israeli policy reflected the views of a good portion of American Jewry and half of the Israeli electorate, all such criticisms to now be rendered trafe. They're trafe, even and especially when that self-same government and self-same policies remain in effect. These questions, among others, are not my questions in the sense that I personally stay up at night thinking about them. They are my questions in the sense that they are being asked by our children and grandchildren, literally and figuratively, by good Jews throughout the community, not by those who preach from this pulpit, but by those who have been called up to this bema over the years, products of the synagogue and like-minded synagogues, many of whom now staff or will staff, now fund or will fund the next Jewish generation. I know where I stand. I know where this synagogue stands. But how do we stand with those members of our wider community who stand for something else? It is a question not just for me, but for all of us. And I mean for all of us. When preaching to his community, the 19th century Rabbi Israel Salanter, the founder of the Musar movement, would begin by stating, and I quote, "All that I'm doing is speaking aloud to myself. If anything you might overhear also applies to you, well and good." And it is in that spirit that I offer a few thoughts, a few rules on how to respond at that squirm-inducing moment when you encounter a view different from your own. First, breathe. Take a deep breath and then ask 2 or 3 or 4 questions in such a way that it might prompt the other person to interrogate their position. Let me give you a few examples. I hear your calls for a ceasefire, and I want peace as much as you. But don't you think that if your demands for ceasefire were preceded by a demand for the hostages to be released, those demands would be practically and morally stronger? Or, I understand your outrage over proportionality. It is the right question. But let me ask you, how do you explain the fact that the same people calling for Israel to account for war crimes cannot bring themselves to name the atrocities of October 7th? Or, I get it. As a progressive, you see the suffering of Palestinians as part of the bigger struggle for liberation. Why can't women advocacy groups whose first rule is to believe women's stories, even bring themselves to call out the sexual violence of October 7th. Why do all lives matter except when they are Jewish lives? Another, I hear you chanting for Palestinian liberation. I believe in a two-state solution as well. But help me understand. When do those chants champion Palestinian self-determination, and when do they call for the destruction of the Jewish state and the death of Jews? It's not clear to me. Is it clear to you? And if it isn't, maybe we can think twice about marching with people behind that slogan. Finally, I know you want peace. Who doesn't? But tell me, how can Israel make peace with the people whose founding charter and recent statements call for their own destruction, call for Israel's destruction? How exactly is Israel supposed to make peace with a non-democratic terrorist organization aimed at its destruction? Can you explain it to me? I have a million more questions I could give you. But as with all things in life, more important than what you say is how you say it. If we are to build community, if we are to move forward, we must learn to let go of the hatred in our hearts. You've heard me say this 100 times, and I say this to you again. This Shabbat, if we are to move forward, we must learn to let go of the hatred in our hearts. I know that what I believe in and those who hold views different from my own are not my enemies. They are not my enemies. In many cases, they are my mishpacha, my family. And family is family. We breathe. We make room for each other. We engage in each other's views. We ask good questions. And we listen to each other's answers. So breathe. Listen. And respond thoughtfully. Ken Yehi Ratzon, may this be God's will. Amen. We turn in our prayer books to page 164 as we rise for the Amidah, if you are able. Page 164, we rise.
Adonai, sifatai tiftachu fi agita hilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'konei HaKol, Bezocher Chasei Avot B'imahot, Umevigula Livnei B'neihem, Leman Shemo B'Ahava, Melech Ozer U'Moshia U'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham Be'ezrat Sarah, Atah Gibor Leolam Adonai, Mechaye HaKol atah Rav Lehoshia, Mashiv HaRuach U'Morid HaGashem, Mekalkel Chaim Bechesed, Mechaye HaKol Berachamim Rabim, Somech Noflim Berofei Cholim, Umatir Asurim, Umechayem Emunato, Lishenei afar. Mi chamocha ba'al gevurot, umido melech. Melech meimi tu mechaye, umatzmiach Yeshua. V'ne'eman ata lechayot hakol. Baruch atah Adonai mechaye hakol. Atah kadosh v'shimcha kadosh, ukdoshim b'kol yom yalucha selah. Baruch atah Adonai ha'el hakadosh.
We continue silently. You may either remain standing or sit down, as is your own custom. Our service continues as we can either read from the prayer book or pray from the own recesses of our hearts. Please be seated. My pleasure now to call upon the co-president of our congregation, Dana Niger, for some announcements. There you are.
Thank you, Rabbi Colbert. Shabbat Shalom, everybody.
Shabbat Shalom.
Thank you so much for your words tonight. And how about the musical stylings of Jessica Tillum? Isn't she amazing?
Yes.
My name is Dana Niger. Yes, absolutely, she deserves it, you're right. My name is Dana Niger. I'm the co-president here with the Temple Emanu-El board. Welcome to our guests, both our TE congregants in person and online. Mwah, to all of you. Congratulations to the Bat Mitzvah family, and Oneg is sponsored tonight by the Medwed family, so thank you. Thank you to our usher tonight, Gail Zimmerman. Where are you? There she is. Thank you for your services tonight. Please check the weekly TE events and programming emails that come out on Mondays for more details on upcoming events. I won't take up all of our time, but I will mention just a few. Southern Soul Shabbat on April 12th, super exciting. Mark your calendars as well for our 3rd annual Spring Forward event. It's a fundraiser on April 13th. Get your tickets now, just a couple weeks away, so exciting. And Rabbi Max has a lifelong learning class starting on April 30th. Jews and Booze. That sounds fun. I'll be there.
Okay,
Shabbat Shalom, Am Yisrael Chai.
Shalom. Thank you so much. Jews and booze. Right up my alley. Man. Sounds good. That's not off, is it? There. Well, I shouldn't have done that, actually. So, all of us have things to be grateful for, right? We are grateful that we're here celebrating a bat mitzvah this weekend. Are we grateful? How many of you are grateful? Yeah, I thought so. Good number. Yes. All these people love you. You are going to be fantastic. You were fantastic a few minutes ago. You're going to be great. Birthdays or anniversaries this week? Last week? Next week? We have a birthday? Your birthday? How old are you going to be? Or are you now? 9. Wow, terrific. Happy birthday. Anybody else? Yes? Please. And how old? Oh, I won't ask. Okay. A big one. A big one. All right. We're grateful for every year. Anniversaries. Did I miss birthday? Anybody's birthday? I did? Somebody's birthday? Oh, right over there. Yes. Please. Hi. Happy birthday. No, anniversary. It's not yours. Whose is it? Whose is it, Ronnie?
So, Ronnie and Alan Mintz, and our daughter Margot is here visiting from Philly, and her husband is still in Philly, but in April, very soon, they'll be celebrating 25 years together.
Nah.
Yes.
You can't be that old. No. Did you get married when you were 4? Wow. And I guess he stayed there because there was a Phillies game, Braves game. Philly and Braves game today, right? Okay, yeah. I figured opening day, season. Anything? Do we have something? Yes. Oh, really? How wonderful. Okay, anybody else have something to be grateful that we're grateful for this week? Come on. Are we grateful for Shabbat? Yeah, we're grateful for Shabbat. Are we grateful for how many of you is this your first time here at Temple Emanu-El? Well, we're grateful that you're here. Okay, welcome. And for those of us, yes, I'm sorry I missed. You're grateful for spring break? I don't blame you. I think it's wonderful. That is fabulous. Okay, anybody else? I'm grateful that this week Karen and I are going to actually have dinner with our grandson. That's going to be exciting. So we're grateful to be back here with you this Shabbat and to be able to join in singing Shehechianu with the blessing that we say for all moments in life when we thank God for giving us life and for sustaining us and keeping us in good health. Please join.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehechianu v'kimanu v'higianu lazman hazeh.
As we give thanks for the blessings in our life, we also take moments to remember things that are not. And right now, one that is not are those that are being held hostage. And so I'm going to ask Jessica to please lead us in the prayer for our hostages. And we ask God's blessing that they may be soon repatriated with their loved ones.
Hama
brothers and sisters, the whole house of Israel who are in distress and captivity, who wander over the sea and land, may God have mercy on them and bring them from distress to comfort, from darkness to light, from slavery to redemption, now, swiftly, and soon. And can we hear that beautiful melody again?
Achenu kol beit Yisrael, Achenu kol beit Yisrael, hanatuni b'tzara, b'tzara uveshivya, ha'omdim bein bayam ubein bayabasha, hamakom yirachem, yirachem aleihem, yotziei mitzara, lirvacha, me'afala leora, mishibur ligula, hashtabagala, uvizman karev.
And our prayers have been requested for those who are ill, for those who need our thoughts and our energy. Rob Gilbert, Charlie Cohn, Kaska Mishkogi, Aaron Silverman, Tzvi Batnatan, Craig Spector, Charles Chivardini, Chick Sherman, Ken Schiffer, Karnina Michal Bat Yitzchak Vitova, Jennifer Herman, Mark Lodinger, Yehudit Bat Yocheved, Aharon Ben Batya, Jeffrey Crispo, Barbara Chalif, Ethan Berkowitz, Benjamin Ben Moshe, Gedalia Vachaya Freya, Chana Gittel Bat Aharon Batya, Jack Elkin, Henya Rachel Bat Esther. If there are other names that should be called aloud now, I would ask you to do so as I look amongst you. Norman? Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Sheila. Thank you. Thank you. Karen? Thank you. Thank you. Our prayers are with them. We rise for the Mishaberach prayer, asking God for healing.
May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Mishaberach imotenu mekor habracha lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
We turn to our prayer books as we remain standing to page 123 for Kiddush. I'm going to ask Alyssa to come up and lead it. And those who are have not yet reached the age of bar bat mitzvah, those who are 13 or feel like they're 13 or under, so even adults, if you feel like it, come on up. But kids, come on up. And I'm going to hold this cup for you and this microphone for you. No, you're going to sing it with Jessica. Okay? You want Jessica to start?
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kishanu b'mitzvotav v'rasa banu. V'shabbat kodesho b'yahava uvratzon inhilanu. Zikaron lema'aseh bereishit, tihu yom tehillah lamikra'ei kodesh, zecher letziat Mitzrayim. Kivanu v'harta b'otanu kidasha mikol ha'im v'shabbat kodeshecha v'yahava uvratzon hinchaltanu. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh haShabbat. Amen.
And we remain standing, and I invite the kids to come up to the Aron HaKodesh, to the Holy Ark, and to open it up for us as we continue and begin to conclude our service with Aleinu L'Shabech, page 586 in our prayer books.
Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, lateit gerula liotzer b'reishit, shelo asanu k'goyei haratzot, velo samanu k'mishpachot ha'adama, shelo sam chelkeinu kahem, v'gor aleinu kechol hamonam. V'anachnu korim umishtachavim umodim lifnei melech malchei hamlachim hakadosh baruch hu. V'nemar v'haya Adonai lemelech al kol haaretz bayom hahu. Bayom hahu yeh Adonai echad, u'shemo echad.
Please close the ark. As we are seated. Ooh, close the ark all the way. Thank you. Careful with your fingers. Yeah. You may be seated. Kaddish is a prayer that is recited at times in our life when we're at our worst despair, when we lost a loved one. And yet there's no mention of God, of death in that prayer. There is mention of God. But the whole prayer is to remind us that even in our darkest moments, we praise the one who gave life, who gave song, who gave poetry, who gave beauty, who gave art to this world so that we could live our best lives. Even in our deepest grief, we say these words. And tonight, we remember those who have died in recent weeks. Herb Mendel, Lenny Goldstein, Marilyn Sue Sloan, and tonight also the blessed Yartzites, the anniversaries of whose death occurred during this week. S. Mark Abelman, Rebecca Berman, Gerald Bialis, Bertha Bleich, Sophie Chernak, Solomon Klein, Sid Kojak, Lorraine Ruth Cooperman, Milton Felsenfeld, Beatrice Felsenfeld, Jacqueline Granith, Diana R. Grief, Donald Howler, Sidney M. Johnson, Max Kobrinsky, Estelle Mittenthal, Aaron Stewart Nathans, Marvin Perlman, Jane Friedman Silvers, A. Edward Spitz, Bernard Weiss, and Jerry Zimmerman. If there are others whose names should be called aloud, I would ask you to do so as I look amongst you. Thank you. All these names we hold into our hearts with our own. I would ask those of you who are observing Shiva to please rise at this time. Those who are observing Shloshim, the 30 days since the passing of your loved one, please remain standing. Those who are observing Shana, a year since the passing of your loved one. And I would ask the congregation to please rise. As we stand with our community, as we remember the 6 million, as we remember the 1,200 murdered for being Jewish. As we turn to page 598 and recite our Kaddish prayer. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabba, b'alma divrach yirutei v'yamlich malachutei, b'chayechonu v'yomechonu v'chayei d'chol Beit Yisrael, ba'agalau v'zman karev v'imru, Amen. Yehei shemei Rabba mevorach le'olam olamei lamaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitba'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, Vitadar, Vitale, Vitalal, Shmei Kudusha, Berichu. Le'elam min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechmata, damiran be'alma v'imru, Amen. Yehei shalom araba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru, Amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, u'ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru, Amen.
Shalom b'mromav, v'yaseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imeru, Amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, v'yaseh shalom
If I could invite our bat mitzvah up to do a magic trick? Lovely? Okay. Abracadabra, can you remove the top? As we join together and say, Baruch atah Adonai
Eloheinu melech haolam, chamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen.
Shabbat shalom, everyone.
Shabbat shalom.
Join us for Oneg in the lobby, please. And you didn't even think